Alright, so this is my third time trying to record this. Unfortunately, apparently it's more difficult to create a video all in one shot compared to like going back and editing things. I didn't really know that. I don't really do this content thing. I just like streaming personally. And every now and then, I throw up a video on this YouTube channel and stuff, but besides that, I want to talk about fighting games. As you guys know, I like to compete in fighting games. If you follow me on Twitch and stuff like that, I'm sure you already know. But I want to specifically talk about why it's so tragic to see some really talented and gifted players and gifted minds within the fighting game community kind of just go AFK, right? Kind of just disappear. And now obviously everyone has their own reasons. Maybe some people aren't able to stream or create content at the moment. Maybe some people don't have the funds to do so, to get equipment to continue to do that. Whatever the case may be, I understand. I am just stating what I've personally seen and why I think, to me personally, why I feel like it's really unfortunate to see some of these players who are so gifted and talented within fighting games, competing, streaming, whatever the case may be, in relation to fighting games, kind of just go AWOL. Actually, I don't even know if AWOL is the correct word for that. Kind of just disappear, right? That's what I mean. So let me explain a little bit more of what I'm talking about. I've seen, and I used to watch, several fighting game players who I feel like are just brilliant. The way they talk about certain topics, the way they explain why you should do certain things within the fighting game, and the way they go about competing in that game that they're playing is honestly brilliant. And it's very, very few of those players, I feel like. And unfortunately, I feel like they have a lack of reward sometimes, or at least they feel like they have a lack of reward. Here's what I mean. You invest so much time into studying the game, into learning the game, into competing in the game, right? Into growing within that game itself in regards to being a player for that game. And unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily stabilize your life, right? Just because you're extremely talented and knowledgeable about one game and you compete and you get some good placements, etc., that doesn't necessarily mean that your life IRL, in real life, is going to be stabilized, is going to be able to function any better than it was prior. And I feel like some players, even at that caliber, feel like a lack of reward for being able to get to that level. Unfortunately, a lot of the times for fighting game players, it doesn't pay the bills, right? Unless you've created an audience on YouTube to get some income from your content, or unless you've done the same thing on Twitch or on any other streaming platform for you to showcase your gameplay and talk about the game you're playing, or unless you've placed consistently high enough at these tournaments to actually make some income from it, you don't really gain any financial benefit. And I feel like some of these players, even though they're extremely talented, especially in competing, sometimes they don't have any reason or desire to create content, to create YouTube videos, to stream more. Sometimes I feel like even though you're extremely good at competing in whatever game you're playing, that doesn't necessarily translate to also being a good content creator or also being able to be a good streamer, right? And sometimes I feel like even though that may not necessarily be the case for every person, especially in regards to the players who I've seen, who knows, things in real life could be happening. I'm not talking about that in particular. I'm just more so talking about some players who I genuinely feel like have the opportunity to continue to possibly make this as something that they can do day to day and actually gain benefit from. I'm talking about specifically those players. It's really unfortunate and it's almost tragic in my opinion. I feel like the fighting game community can actually benefit from having players who compete at a high level, but also explain why they do things and why they go about what they do in that game on YouTube or stream, but some players, it doesn't really matter, right? Like some players are genuinely so talented at competing, that's all they really want to do. And I feel like that is tragic. You can't force people to do certain things. You can't force people to stick around in the community and you know, continue to stream and continue to compete. You know, everyone's different and everyone got their own reasons for either continuing to do so or just completely vanish. But I wish players, regardless of where your expertise is at in the fighting game community, I wish players felt more reward. You know, I feel like when a new fighting game comes out and it's really popular, players get really hyped because it's like, okay, there's so many opportunities with this fighting game. But the issue is that number one, I mean, you might benefit depending on what you do, but unfortunately, unless you really work extremely hard and you get like a extremely high placement in the tournament, or unless you create so much content that your name gets out there, the benefit that you have is not necessarily as much as you think. And I wish players, especially competitors in fighting games, who I've seen compete in multiple different games extremely at a high level, I wish players felt like they had more of a reason to continue to compete and to continue to create content or stream. Now, I understand it's not necessarily easy, right? But it is really tragic, at least for me. And I know some other players out there who really look forward to seeing what some players have to say about this topic or this thing that's happening in this game and why you should do that because of, you know, whatever reason. But some players just, you know, don't feel the need to update people, don't feel the need to really tell people what's going on in regards to YouTube and stuff. Some people just aren't looking to grow on different avenues in regards to the fighting game community. And I understand, you know, because I'm not personally, like, I don't consider myself a content creator at all, right? I'm making this video, I'm talking about it, but I personally think I'm better at just playing the game and streaming the game on Twitch than I am talking to the camera and like creating a video about it. But I'm still gonna try to go outside my comfort zone and talk about something that I've thought about for a while. Like, there's several players who are extremely talented, like gifted minds, literally. Like, you can tell they're extremely intelligent just in general, and in regards to how they compete in fighting games, just kind of disappear for like a year, 2 years, and then, you know, and they rarely stream. And I just feel like I wish some players felt more of a reward for putting in a lot of work in regards to what they're extremely passionate about, because you can tell they're passionate about it, you know. I just wish some players felt more of a reward for doing so.